Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time has come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. But first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act. But people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Bazball, Chazball, Stokey Cullen Ball, whatever you want to call it, Ball, has turned out to be a marvellous success, even if it means the ECB has been forced to shell out refunds as fourth and fifth days go unused. England will surely make it 6 wins out of 7 this summer when they add the 33 required for victory at the Oval this morning. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket, the tastiest, crunchiest, revolutionary cricket commentary you will hear today. I'm Gorilla Hendo, Nigel Henderson, and I'm joined by literally a cast of 5 today because, you know, all the action is going to take place within the next half an hour, we suspect. So all the way, and rather sadly, from South Africa. I'm actually amazed he's got up and come on this morning.
It is about midday.
It is midday in South Africa, but even so, with defeat on the horizon, it's taken an incredible effort from Mpo to come and join us on the last rites of this summer. How you doing? Are you still crying?
Look, I gotta take it on the chin. It hasn't been the best of test series, but look, you know, I have to honor my commitments. Unlike the South Africans who are abdicating their responsibilities on what day was it? I don't even know. Oh, day after the Queen died. Oh no, 2 days after the Queen died, which is Saturday. So yeah,
it's kind of hard to remember. So much has happened in 2 days, hasn't it? Or if you actually say 4 or 5 days, a lot has happened on the pitch and off the pitch as well. We're also joined again by a mainstay of the summer. We wouldn't be the same. People talk about the voice of summer, someone like Richie Benno or John Arlott or whatever, but Messi Jez is the chortle of the summer. He is the laughing man in the background. You will hear. And things just don't seem right if you can't hear a Messi Jez chortle. Also, so how are you this morning, Messi?
I'm excellent, thank you very much. I'm just sad that it's the last day of Test cricket.
Sad.
For, a
Me
while.
too.
It
Me
is.
too. I'm gutted. That is the sound of the bear on my right. Morning, bear. He's disappearing in a haze of his own vape.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm all right. Yeah, it is the last day of the summer, and then we got an endless churn of fucking T20s till December, pretty much.
And on my left,
Only 8 days till it starts.
Indeed, 8 days till it starts. We'll be back on as soon as we finished, really, won't we? Now, I have on my left Tony, and Tony is if nothing, if not reliable in terms of stats and facts. And he has some incredible facts. We were talking this morning about, we thought this game would be over in sort of 20 minutes, half an hour this morning. So we were looking for the shortest Test final days, weren't we? And we dug up a few things.
Well, we have dug up a couple of things, yeah. Messers will remember this. He was probably there. It was Melbourne 1936-37. England were 165 for 8 overnight. So with 2 wickets remaining, they trotted out on the final day. Sims of Middlesex, Jim Sims, leg break bowler, Bill Vose, of course, partner Harold Larwood. And they were up to the first 2 balls bowled by Chuck Fleetwood Smith. So in 1936-37 at the MCG, England the next morning lasted 2 balls and that was it, game over. 2018, Trent Bridge, England was 17 balls. England were 311 for 9 overnight. Who else would it be at the crease then in that time? But Broad and Anderson, and Jimmy was the last man to fall, so that just lasted 17 balls. And the other one I came up with, which tickled me, was the shortest ever Test match. Talk about Bazball. This is iron balls. We're talking iron balls here. Bert Ironmonger in a match took 6 for 18 and 5 for 6 in 1932, again at the MCG, funny enough, against South Africa. And Poe, I'm sure will remember that well. 5 hours and 53 minutes from start to finish, that whole Test match.
That's extraordinary.
Apart from the fact that it pissed down with rain for a whole lot of it, so it actually took at least 3 days.
Spread over 3 days.
So Bazball was nothing new. This is iron balls.
I presume that was uncovered wickets, so it was zipping around all over the shop.
Well, I was trying to think, what is the minimum number of balls we need this morning? If England were to hit a 6 off every ball, we need 6 balls.
6
we need
is 36.
One over, absolutely right. Mpo, can you see any way in which South Africa can pull this off?
I was praying for rain.
A
That's
rain.
the only way I could see it. Rain delay the whole day. Nothing happened. There's no look. I think obviously the win for South Africa is way out, but obviously if they play today, the draw's also out. So outside of rain, there's nothing that you can.
Well,
there ain't no rain, mate.
I
It's
was
blue sky.
thinking England can win it in 6 balls. South Africa could win it in 10 balls.
Well, I have a question for Mpo, if I may.
Yeah.
So Mpo, if you were Dean Elgar, which I have to tell everybody, of course, is an anagram of regal, highly appropriate for the occasion.
Yes.
If the umpires had gone to him last night and if they'd said, Dean, do you stay on? Do you want to keep bowling, or do you want to come back tomorrow? What do you think he would have said?
You would have stayed on.
Yeah, I was hoping that would be your answer.
I wanted him. I wanted to finish it with 30 runs and I was fading light. Look, we might as well just bowl the spinners, bowl Dean and Keshav to get it done because they couldn't break this partnership. But we've seen Zach Crawley's match-winning innings. So
Yes, this is it.
Well, not yet. We haven't.
Oh well. Well, I mean, you could
Don't
argue
get ahead
this-
of yourself,
you
mate.
You could argue this is match winning if England do get there. Shall we jingle up?
Yeah, might as well.
Because the teams are out there, and it's a surprisingly large number of people there. Extraordinary.
I'm not surprised to come to see the last day of the
Yeah,
summer.
but 33 runs.
And all the money's going to charity for
Oh, is it?
those who do attend, yes.
Okay, let's jingle. Let's jingle.
I thought it was free. This man's facing.
Zach Crawley was a cricket player, a damn good cricket player. But he was moved from the middle order to open the batting. Now, trapped in the English professional cricket circuit, Zach Crawley must fight to survive.
And this man is bowling.
Last time this summer.
He's a high roller, rock and roller, scariest, deadliest, killingest bowler. He can sink
Spanish Armada.
No one faster, no one harder.
What's his name? What's his name? Tell me, what's his name? KG.
And the first ball is on the legs of Zach Crawley, and Zach Crawley does not perish first ball. He flicks it away down to long leg, brings up his 58, his highest score of the summer for England, and England are 98 for no wicket. They only need 32 more runs to win. 3 slips and a very fine gully, mid-off, mid-wicket, mid-on, round the wicket to the left-handed Lees. Lees digs this one out through the offside. He's going to get a couple there, I think, to Rickleton, I think, coming round from deep backward point. And Lees moves to 34. Can Lees finish the summer with a 50? He could, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could.
England's 100 is up. They need 30 more runs to win. There is applause all around the ground. People are getting the beers in early because, let's face it, you're not going to have much chance. And
if you drink quick, you might get 2.
you might if you're lucky. Lees is on to 34. Rabada in his 9th over, round the wicket. And he edged it, and he's dropped. He's edged it, and he's dropped by Verena. Aimed a big drive at it. Full thick edge. Verena dived away to his left, spilled it. Can anything get worse for South Africa? And to add insult to injury, they take a single.
Let's have his jingle as well.
Alex Lees learned magic. It's tragic. I'd like to believe it's not so.
Now, I got a question for you, Empo.
Yep.
Is this side going to remain in the top 2 in the World Test Championships? How many tests are you playing over the next 2 years?
Not many. We'll come back to that. Driven by Crawley off a thick outside edge, where he was aiming it a bit straighter than that, but he's going to pick up 2 more runs. He'll go into the 60s. England to 103 for no wicket. I have 2 balls remaining of what may be my final over of the summer, because I don't think I'm going to be required when we've been through the Bear, we've been through Tony, we've been through Umpo.
I reckon so. I reckon we'll get about 8 or 9 overs.
Really?
Well,
Really?
we might do.
Anyway, that's a terrible drop. It was a really good ball from Rabada, and that's a good ball as well. It comes back, and in between bat and pad as Crawley aims one of those Crawley drives and makes no contact. 103 for no wicket, 27 more required. So very unlucky. That's only just missed the top of off stump
And the inside edge.
and the inside edge. And
Great ball.
he's had Lees dropped, so it's poor old Kugizo. Here he is again to complete the over. Bowls to Crawley. Crawley drive, drags the ball though up to mid-on rather than where he meant it to go, which was extra cover. That is the end of the over. The first over is completed. England have moved on to 103 for no wicket. They need 27 more to win. Let's see who's with us this morning. Messi.
Mog is with us. He says, well, all of you who mocked me over the importance of 33
Indeed.
can go eat a bag of dicks. Also, hello. Leah says, hello, everyone. I hate that this phony chase is the last day of Test summer before we get drowned in endless hit and giggle bovine feces. Chris Silvery Bean says, good morning, Gorilla Cricket. Cheers for the Patreon mug that arrived this morning.
Ah, lovely.
Yes.
Maybe I might explain that.
Yeah, patreon.com is what you can do to help us out. We need money, especially with the energy prices going through the roof. The facilities that we hire here from the Bear, as he's going to commentate.
Oh yeah, it's me. Janssen is starting the next over, and his first ball is into the pads of Alex Lees. I shall give him a jingle. It's this man.
You think Marco would play polo, but there's more money in cricket.
Yeah, so my question still stands, Empo. Are you not playing any tests in the next 2 years, therefore your position is solid?
Well, we've got Australia away, but I don't think we're going to win there. But we need to win at least 2 to keep us up there. But look, I don't want to go to the World Test Championship with this team. The middle order looks horrible.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's
horrible.
it's almost more shambolic than us. And there's another, that should have been caught, surely. Lees pokes at one, gets a thick outside edge. I think it's Dean Elgard, a skipper. He seems to have pulled out of that. Did he pull out of that? Or is it too high? It
Well, it's
doesn't look
high,
too high.
and they sort of started to go for it and then thought it's hardly worth it. But I think we need to
But
see a
you've gotta
replay to
jump.
confirm that.
You have to jump at that one.
Yeah, you do.
You have to try.
Gotta
Well,
jump.
he's cut it. He's pushed it.
No.
No, it's not that high. It's gone very quick.
Went over the.
He didn't react.
It wasn't Elgar. Elgar was further round. That was Was that Zondo? No, it was Peterson.
Peterson.
Keegan Peterson, sorry.
There was somebody at the Oval yesterday sat behind me who suggested that South Africa had left one or two of their players in the tumble dryer too long. 'Cause they'd all
Jansen in
shrunk.
again, that's down leg side though, and it goes through to
Look, so
Varane behind the stumps.
we've got 3 more test matches up until I think next year, March or February. I don't know who we play in that late window. So yeah, look, I think this is it for South Africa after Australia. The sad part about it is that you're gonna have to give these middle order guys a bit of a run as well. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'd like to see how they go in Australia. Is it in Australia or at home?
it's in Australia.
Oh God, that's a tough place to go, man. Mind you, you lot don't do bad there. That's left alone by Leeds through to the keeper, and there's no one. Unlike us, who win once in a blue moon, you're quite competitive out there, aren't you?
Not with this side.
No.
But the bowlers I mean, this is the thing when you got a bowler. I mean, the problem with England for the last couple of years on the route is the middle order kept collapsing, and the bowlers just get pissed off, don't they? Because they're doing their job, and the batsmen just don't. And this side does look really fragile in the middle. Even compared to us, who are pretty fragile. Jansen is in. Jansen, and I think it's probably a leg by. He tries to work it around the corner. Lees. Was it leg by? I think it was.
I think it was leg by, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't go up on his score. He's on to 39. He's 11 to get his 50.
Well, he's been dropped effectively 3 times on his way to 39, Alex Lees. I think we should remember that when we're looking at
including the very first ball.
Including the very first ball. I should go back to what Messi Jones was saying. If you would like to support us and help us with our energy bills, patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. You get lots of extras as well. So sign up there if you possibly can.
Indeed. Well, Crawley's going to face up. He's on 60 off 48. And Jansen comes into him. He decides to leave that one through to the keeper. And there ain't no run. And that's the end of my over. It's over to Tony for over number 3. 22 runs required, so he scored 11 off the first 2.
What a beautiful leave that was by Crawley. Messers, who have we got there first?
Mark says it's bad enough to have performed pretty badly in 2 out of 3 tests, but it must really hurt to let Crawley make runs. And also, he says, is the GPL on? I'm thinking I might have a winning spread of numbers. Sorry,
The
Mark.
GPL is most certainly not on.
I was about to say, if anybody... well, that's true. Could you get someone to...
It'll be back in 8 days with 93 quid. There
Yes,
you go.
exactly.
Oh,
Going into
yeah,
some
we'll be
T20 nonsense.
Looking forward to that. Rabada
Warren's
continues around the
morning
wicket. Oh, and that just forces Lees onto the back foot. He plays it into the offside, and there is no run. Yeah, as Hendo was saying, a man who's rather ridden his luck. Dropped 3 times, Alex Lees. Crawley, on the other hand, majestic, imperious, quite superb. Some of the shots he was playing yesterday were just delights to behold. It's the Crawley we've been promised and we'll get once every 30 tests or so.
Yeah.
The great thing about that is going to keep you
A massive 60.
3 more years.
Around the wicket again comes Rabada, back foot. Lees just playing very safe, very sensibly, as a man who's had 3 lives might be inclined to do.
2 of them this morning, and the first one, as you say, was off the first ball. He was doing all right last night, wasn't he? I mean, I think in this situation they've done the right thing, and it's totally within Bazball. You just kind of go hard at it.
I thought they would. I mean, they don't want to give them any chance of getting back into the match. And if everyone slogs, they'll probably get a few, won't they?
Yeah, exactly.
Lovely shot of a dad and his 2 lads diving into their picnic early. Well, you might as well, because I mean,
Get those
it's not gonna
bananas
have
down
a
here.
huge amount of time to
Those
eat
bananas won't eat
it.
themselves.
Rabada again. This driven to backward point, and there is no run. Rabada's been interesting to me, and Poe. I mean, he got tonked around in England's innings. Went for about 50 for a while, and then all of a sudden seemed to click into gear. Can he be a bit hit and miss?
Look, I think it's a rhythm thing. He's always been a rhythm guy. He gets himself up there. I think he gets frustrated with the batters not putting down enough runs for them. I think for me, I think that's the argument he has in the dressing room with all of them.
And he comes to Lees, who rocks back. Good sharp rising ball from Rabada, but Lees is smart enough to get out of the way. And
But the other thing,
pugnacious
and a lot
looking
of
Verena
South Afri-
fields.
I think the other thing a lot of South Africans were complaining about on social media was that Dean Alger kept him on for too long. And my answer is that he's your strike bowler. Like, you have to, when it's a low target, you have to give him as much as you can, because he'll always look likely to take a wicket.
That's the problem Root had with Archer, of course, till he finally broke him. That one jags back in. There's a big shout. Umpire Menon, referred to, of course, as
Come on, just give
young
us
knitting
one.
by
Might as
Jimmy
well
Anderson.
Review it.
Give us one.
I would say not out on height, but
Really? Well, look, it looked dead in line with a stunt.
well, again, of course, how different might this be as a game if Elgar had reviewed the broad wicket dismissal when? I think that's possibly just on height.
No, that's hit the back pad. It's hit the back leg, and it's not.
I think it's going to clatter into leg stump.
Yeah, I think that's close. Decision
No,
is being reviewed.
Oh, they have reviewed
Oh,
it. Well,
finally. Thank goodness.
possibly.
Shaving, I reckon it's umpire's call on leg stump.
Yeah.
Well,
it
not
looks
given,
like it's
so
going
it
down.
would.
Leg,
Back
yeah.
leg. That's not going over the top, is it?
In that
Doesn't
case,
look
it
it.
must be possibly umpire's call may save Alex Lee.
I think that's
leg.
hitting
I think
leg
that's hitting.
stump.
I think that's hitting leg stump. I'm going for leg stump.
I'm with you, Hendo.
Pitch is outside off.
Yeah, no,
Impact
yeah.
is in line.
it
It
is.
is
Yeah,
hitting.
leg stump.
England have lost
Oh.
their first wicket. It was a good review.
Good
The
call,
stable
Hendo.
door, however, remains open.
Oh, everybody should be watching YouTube just to see Paul's celebration.
Got a wicket.
Punches the air in ecstasy and delight.
You
108 for
understand,
one.
Well, he kind of did deserve that. He got dropped. He should
Yeah.
have been caught.
Yeah.
He's come out looking a complete, not very good this
Whew,
morning,
another
but that
10
doesn't
wicket
matter.
loss.
Do you, the thing is, I mean, we're going to have to look back on this, I guess, in future Bishops and Bears and things like that, and maximums. But has either of these openers done enough to remain as the England opener? I mean, Alex Lees he's played his role in the sense that he's gone out and McCullum was talking back earlier in the summer. He's gone out with that positive mindset, but he hasn't really put any numbers on the board, has he?
No, he hasn't, and he is remarkably caught behind far too often, or caught in the slips,
Yes.
and he does go hard at the ball outside of off stump. Crawley, interestingly enough, in the last 3 innings has really put that shot away, and when he has looked fluid, he's been noticeably playing the ball later. He's been playing it under the eye line. He's not been reaching for the ball.
Well, there was one.
and he's looked beautiful doing it.
There was one leave earlier this morning. It might have been in the first over that we both spoke about. I think it was just he left it so late. That was the important thing. He looked for sort of as if he was about to play the ball, and then just at the last minute snatched it out of the way.
Anyway, we have the new man. It's
matchman.
my ecclesiastical brother, the Pope.
We got a pope. We got a pope. Take a good hard look. It's Ollie Pope. It's Ollie Pope. It's Ollie Pope. Take a hard look at Ollie Pope.
73 at Lords, of course. And he works this straight off his hip, and we'll get off the mark straight away,
I
unless
think
that
it's leg
was
by.
a
That's
leg
leg by.
by.
I'm pretty sure it's leg by.
Was it?
He's coming down the wicket. He played it with his hip.
It's one more to
basically.
the score. It will mean that there is, when the time they actually change the caption, 21 to win. It's 109 for 1. That's the end of me, and Poe will be next with Messers in between.
Ferron says, greetings from Poor. Hope everyone's well. From being outplayed in the first test to the 2-1 series, we're not a bad effort unless the Sappers can grab 10 wickets for less than 30 this morning. Cheers. Mog says, crisis, Foxtel is down and isn't showing cricket.
No.
I said, well, it's on KO, to which he said, nah, I'm going to keep watching you lot on YouTube and keep eyes peeled for some Bishop up short action.
Oh,
please.
steady on.
Bishop up short action. Leave his cassocks alone.
Marco Janssen in with 3 slips and a galley to the Pope, and he lets it go through for no run.
The mitre monster stays caged.
Please.
As to your point about whether these two, the problem is anyone else. There's only one fucking pushing them out. I mean, this is.
I thought
problem with England, isn't it?
Yannaman Milan was going to be the coming man, having looked at his record a couple of years ago, and he just doesn't seem to have pushed on.
For South Africa or for England?
South Africa.
Janssen in again. Ooh, this one inside edge down the leg side. It's gone to square leg. They'll come through for 2. So that's the required runs now goes down to 19, and England are on Nelson.
Yeah, don't want to worry people.
1-1-1 for 1.
1-1-1 for 1. Feet off the ground. Could England lose 9 wickets before scoring the 19 runs required? It could happen.
Oh, we've done it before.
We've done it before. I'm sure we've done it before.
Can South Africa make it 1-1-1 for 2? That's the question.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you've had the pleasure of not allowing us a 10-wicket victory. So that's
You know how happy I am that's not a 10-wicket victory. Yo, this one full outside the off stump, defended back to the bowler. No run. Ollie Pope looks like he wants to score runs. He's very busy at the crease right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Pope has got a little bit frantic, hasn't he? I think, and that's been part of his role. He comes in and he's always looking to get down the wicket these days in the way that Joe Root and Ben Stokes have been doing.
And I think that's what South Africa have lacked in that middle order, is the ability to be able to try be busy in the face of the ball moving around.
Yeah.
It just felt like they were stuck. Janssen in. This one just dotted out to Gully or backward point for no run. That's Ryan Rickleton.
The point about that, I think, is that when we did the podcast, you said that they're going to be stolid and really slow because that's how you play. The point is, you get nowhere. I mean, in that second test was a prime example. In that second innings, they just went nowhere, and the new ball came around. They only scored 160 runs, and lost 5 wickets in the process. At least England, if they get out in 80, 90 overs, they might well get 300, 400 runs.
Janssen short ball and pulled really well down square leg for 4 runs.
That was a
lovely
shot.
Is that the first boundary of the day, or was like the third one? But anyway, it's a boundary.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Really nicely got inside that, didn't he?
He did. You got the feeling with only this few runs needed from England that they've become a little bit flat track bullyish last night and this morning, haven't they? They're in a sense, there's a sort of swagger about players who don't really deserve to be swaggering.
Well, I think Crawley's earned the right.
Has he? Has
Yeah,
he really earned the right?
Well, only on the basis of the beauty of his innings. In this
Final
game.
ball from Mark Janssen. Flicked down the leg side. Great stop there by Kaya Zondo, who's on his second test, but his official debut. End of the over, 115 for 1.
So the lovely Diana Patterson, who is one of our long-term patrons and supporters, says, I just quickly want to get in a thanks before you're over and I can turn to Essex. THANKS. Thank you so much, Diana, and thank you for being with us and such a sterling supporter. Fun porn box with us, forcing bananas into people. Click here.
Stop it now.
And Spangly Size says doomed. I just want to ask a question because
after this ball, Rabada in bowls to Crawley. Crawley brings the bat inside the line of that one, just back of a length through the keeper. No run. Yes, Messi.
The question of Ahmedabad and the state of the pitch was mentioned in relation to this by Jack Hope, I think, one of our own. The fact that this match in particular, I reckon the conditions make it really hard for even good batsmen to make any runs. Do you have any views in relation to this?
Rabada bowls, and that's clipped from the line of middle and leg, and Maharaj has difficulty in grappling with it at mid-on, but eventually gets hold of the ball. They take a single. Crawley moves to 61. England 116 for 1. They need 14 more runs to win.
I think you've got to look at cloud cover and overhead conditions as well as the pitch. The pitch has had something quite a lot for the bowlers, but it's both been not as unplayable as it's been made to look by any manner of means.
Exactly. I mean, look how England have gone around this.
Rabada bowls and pulled by Pope very well. I'm not sure it's going to go for 4. Rickleton is chasing round and just gets the dive in, brings it back. Really good piece of fielding. They should get back for 3, and they do. Pope moves into the double figures. England move on to 119 for 1. Well, even yesterday morning, I thought that the pitch got a little bit slower when Anderson was on in the morning, and Elgar and Hervé were batting, quite solidly. We've had periods in this match where there have been runs and not a clatter of wickets, but I think this pitch has done more than almost any oval pitch I've seen in years.
There's been a lot of movement
for the oval to have so much pitch movement off the pitch.
2 days under covers as well, which is quite unusual.
Well, yes, I suppose
there's
that.
Sweating away like that as well.
Yeah, true.
Bit of live grass on it. That's made for good fun.
Rabada into Crawley. Crawley's right onto the front foot, plays a very solid forward defensive to back to Rabada. Rabada flicks the ball to his captain Elgar, who tries to get some work on it. And England require 11 more runs to win. Now, if it works out right, it'll fall to Empo to commentate the final run, the final nail in the South African coffin.
It's the commentary equivalent of Harry Carey passing the ceremonial sword.
Rabada into Crawley. Crawley dabs at square on the offside. And I think it's Zondo doing the fielding. There is no run. A rare dot ball. And I think this is a good game. This is a good game to take kids to, because then they'll think that every cricket game only lasts 40 minutes.
Exactly, and they want to go again.
They'll want to go again, absolutely, on the basis of their...
You've spotted the direction of travel for the ECB then.
Yeah, outside the off stump, given width, and Crawley doesn't need, as they say sometimes, a second invitation. Very strange thing. Sometimes they don't get a first invitation. But that's put away, backward a point, and that is a gorgeous 4, and England need only 7 to win. I think the Bear might get to call it.
Ooh,
He always... Have you noticed? I mean, I know that when we do commentary roulette, it's a ball per person. This is an over per person. But
it's
the
a big
Bear
no ball.
always won it, didn't he? He always won it.
I didn't
It's
always.
always the Bear.
Snowball.
That was a massive.
Oh, it's a no ball, so I've got another ball to go then.
Massive.
All right, maybe I'll do it if he'll hit a 6. Rabada into Crawley. Crawley leaves. That's a bit anticlimactic, but there you go. England 124 for 1. They need one giant big hit, a smaximum. Now, wouldn't it be great if they could finish on a
that'd be
smaximum?
Oh dear.
Messi.
Chris Aquarius says, feels like Christmas, and like Scrooge, I want to say bar humbug. For the 4th time this summer, I'm not at the Oval due to heat, cancellation and bad. Better off watching live stream of Yorkshire versus Essex, where Yorkshire 32 for 2. And Warren says, if another wicket goes down, will it be time for the day hawk?
The Daywalk. Good point.
Angelic Scotus is with us too. He's a very busy man, Scott, because he's got so many sports to follow. He says he'd like to join in the thank for another summer of your wonderful commentary. Until the next Test series. Thank you so much, Scott.
Indeed. Well, oh my word. Janssen has bowled to Pope. He's tried to reverse scoop him over the slips. What a fucking ridiculous shot. And he gets hit. But it is a no ball.
Well, I mean, I think that would be the ultimate end to that Bazball summer, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it
a
would
reverse scoop for 6 would be the perfect end, really.
I think
he got
Composed
him- he
just
got-
used his ceremonial sword. I don't think he's going to...
He got into
wait.
a really good position. He was actually a bit early on it, and he missed it with the scoop, and it hit his forearm and then went up into his grill. So you wouldn't do that without a helmet, would you?
No, absolutely not, no.
Captain clapping on.
Yeah, Stokesy liked it.
Yes, the message is clear.
Oh, no, you do realise, of course, we're going to have a delay while he gets a new grill, presumably, or a new helmet. So
Well,
just
that'll
a
give me a
slow-
chance to catch up on actually Angelic Scotus' first tweet. I missed out on. He said, "Morning, folks. Still fighting off illness, so after more than 3 weeks, but at least getting to hear your lovely voices for the few overs we have left." And Mogg says, "I must confess, I have a deeply personal reason for being disappointed this will be over soon. Once it's over, I have to do housework." Oh no, you don't. You can find all sorts of things to follow on YouTube. You know that. Right? Hawkster says, "Does anyone know if David Bedingham of South Africa and Durham is eligible for South Africa, or has shown an interest to play for us?"
He showed an interest to play for you.
Oh, has he?
Who's that?
Bellingham of
David
Durham.
Bedingham.
Yeah, no, I think he has, yeah.
In December, he effectively told all of us to go and stick it where we don't
Really?
want to
Where the
see
sun don't shine.
That's harsh.
it. Look,
Well, I guess he figures
he
maybe...
came to play in South Africa, didn't light it up like everyone was talking, like he was doing in county. Wasn't necessarily selected for the Test series in December, and then when the selectors tried to call him, he just didn't take their phone call. So
Janssen in, pulled again, short, straight down to Rabada. It'll be a single. So that's 4 to win, one boundary to win.
It is going to be a... Oh, no.
So
Crawley is
the
going
only
to face...
question would be, is if they promised him a starting berth in Australia. So if the selectors finally get through to him, and they effectively say you're on the plane to Australia. Because right now we're looking for a middle order and we can't seem to buy
Well,
one.
yeah, but I mean, a lot of people have been talking about him quite nicely here, and he probably thinks the money's better. I mean, that's the problem, isn't it? unless you can offer him a decent wage. And that's the thing. That's down leg side, and Crawley tries to flick it fine.
Actually,
Anything on it, there's no run.
that is a very good point that Bear makes there. I think that he knows that if he gets a central contract with England, it's probably going to be worth a lot more than getting a. I don't know what the contract situation is in South Africa and how it works, but
he wouldn't get a central. He'd probably get a game-by-game contract.
Yeah.
Because we only announce our contracts every year around June,
right,
and obviously he's missed that cut.
right.
What do you know what sort of monetary value is attached to a yearly contract? How much is doing Elgar on? Janssen in, it's outside off stump, flash through the covers. Is there anyone out there? There is no one out there.
That's it.
It's 4 runs. England have won, 126, only the loss of 1 wicket. Crawley ends the summer with his highest score. Did he get 69, 65? Not out.
That's something. How many minutes did it end? Did it last in the end? Then can we?
69, I think he got.
How many wickets did it end?
Well,
how
it started at 11. It's now 11:26. 26
minutes to finish off those 33 runs. Well, I was going to say, what about? I did sort of mention. I don't know whether you heard me. What has happened to? I've forgotten his name now. Janneman Malan. Yeah, I know he played in the one-day series, didn't he?
So Janneman demoted himself to the middle order to try and get a spot into the side.
Right.
And you would outside after Rickleton and Zondo, he's the next guy you want to look at. The only question would be, will the selectors be going to him? He, similar to Zondo, had a double century in the first weekend of our domestic season last year, and then after that wasn't a lot of runs there.
Right.
He's also lost out on the T20 side, so the only format he's playing actually is only the ODIs.
Well, it's extraordinary because 2 or 3 years ago, Janneman Malan, 2 or 3 years ago, he had a fantastic first-class batting record. I mean, we were looking at the fact that there were the 3 brothers, weren't there? There's is it Peter Malan and I can't remember the name of the other one, to be honest. But and he's had a
Malan's playing
fantastic
today for Middlesex.
And we thought he must be in with a chance. But it seems strange to me. I mean, I know Hervé's got 100 during the winter, but you wouldn't say that he pulled up any trees with his opening of the batting.
So I think there's 2 things, right? Janneman realized he wasn't going to make the side in as an opener, so he went down. So that kind of now creates a whole lot of confusion. The other thing is Janneman's a little bit more aggressive at the top than South Africa actually want.
Right.
And if you look at the numbers, his brother I think is a better opener than he is, and that's Peter.
Yeah.
And Peter played against England the last time England were in SA.
Yeah.
So you have that situation, but if you look at our opening partnership right now, I'm comfortable with him because they give us a foundation. So it's either they average around 50 runs an opening stand, and that's what we've missed last year. And to a certain extent, the reason why we're number 2 right now still in the World Test Championship is because of Hervé and Elgar giving a foundation and all the other guys chipping in. So that's the thing. And obviously Temba comes back, but you've got like 2 spots available to kind of look for middle order batters, but the selectors have gone with Zondo and Rickleton, so it's going to be a while before we see Janneman, unless before Australia he literally scores like 300s in a row.
Yeah.
Can I just say, someone called Disinterested Handjob has given us $5 on YouTube.
Oh, thank you, that man.
This
Good
$5,
on you, Mark.
he says, this $5 is to buy Sibley a return to the side.
Hang on. Now look, I haven't been to the Oval in about 3 years, but if I was to go to the Oval next year, I'm going to have to endure Dominic Sibley as he's moving back to Surrey. Would you believe? I can't believe Surrey, who are top of the county championship, are they not? Think that they need Dominic Sibley. I'm not quite sure what he's going to bring to the Surrey side, but anyway, that's another
Solidity.
Solidity. It's not like Surrey play in that way, really.
And playing on a pitch that's normally guaranteed to get batsman runs.
Well, it hasn't.
Unless you're Jason Roy.
Yeah, or Jason
Can
Roy.
I just give you a stat about this match?
You can.
The total number of overs bowled was 151.3.
It's not even 2
5
days.
days of 90 overs would be 450. So almost exactly 3 times.
It's just over a day and a bit's worth of play. 90 overs
Yes.
being a day. I mean, that's
That's
just
a joke.
over 3 T20s worth of play.
Well, how many tests can there ever have been when the first innings of both sides was identical lengths? They were both
Yeah.
36.2 overs.
Oh,
weren't
were they?
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
That's another good stat, isn't it? Well,
The
there
other
we
thing
go.
I just want to observe is this: the thing that strikes me as understated but really important is the difference between England this year and England last year. Is that at the important times they've actually caught their catches. Last year they were a shambles in the field. This year they've dropped a few, but generally speaking, their catching has been really good, and that makes a huge difference. I mean, if South Africa caught their catches in this match, it might have made a huge difference.
Yeah, they were
Did we
very
have-
remiss there, weren't they?
Did we have crowds last summer?
Crowds, yes, we did.
Yeah,
yes,
we did,
Yes. You trying to think that made a difference? The fact that we got crowds this
Well,
year.
no, they were still in bubblies, weren't they, last summer?
Bubbles.
Last summer, Bubblies. Were we in Bubbles last summer?
think
You know,
we
I
were
can't
in
remember.
Bubbles last
no.
summer.
No, I think we may have been briefly, but I think we came out of it.
There were protocols, but
There were
not
protocols.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, because
Yeah.
didn't what's his name?
What's his name?
What's his name?
Manager of India.
Ravi Shastri.
Ravi
Ravi Shastri
Shastri.
went off to a book signing, didn't he? And it was outside COVID.
Oh, that's
protocol.
true.
Oh,
Yes,
that's
it
right,
was.
because that's right. And the final test was called off because of
Yes.
them all, or half of them catching COVID.
Two Sri Lanka players
yeah.
got caught in Durham High Street.
But we
just-
did have crowds. I mean, there were protocols that were being observed, but crowds had been allowed back, at least to a certain extent, anyway. So
I
Yeah,
think this
yeah.
match, I've got to be honest, I think this match will stand out for a lot of reasons beyond the quality or not of the cricket. I actually think the cricket has been terrific. It's been an
fun.
extraordinary sense of different circumstances. I mean, how often does a team win the toss and then not actually do anything for 2 days? So,
Yeah.
I mean, that may well have changed what South Africa... Well, South Africa didn't have the choice, did they, on this occasion? But
yeah,
I think under the circumstances and given the everything going on around it, there's been a lot of wickets, but you know it's a September wicket. These things are going to happen. Yes, it's over within 2 days and a bit, but it's been magnificently attended. It's never for a second been dull. Even within the context of a shorter game, it's ebbed and flowed. It's been terrific entertainment. I've been a
But
fan of this test
I think
for a number of reasons.
in terms of the actual entertainment value, the summer has been extraordinary in Test matches. From the point of view of wanting to see a little bit more resilience from batsmen, as a former batsman myself, I do put some sort of importance on people being able to occasionally play a moving ball, and it seems it's not just teams coming over here that can no longer play the more moving ball. It's our own players that can't play
I
the
give you
moving ball.
Exhibit A, Zach
Andrew
Crawley.
Strauss. Oh right, okay.
Oh no, not Andrew Strauss.
Oh,
No,
right,
he's
okay.
just the bald-headed destroyer of all things holy. Seriously, I mean, I'm not lurching suddenly into Crawley's the best thing since sliced bread, but you've noticed from those, poor scores of what was it, 9 and 13, the 38 then at Old Trafford. Okay, you got 13 the second innings. The change in technique, the playing the ball later, still playing some beautiful shots. He's progressed, his confidence, and here it really came to the fore on actually one of the more difficult tracks he probably has played on. Arguably the most difficult.
I think I do, even though you're not going from one side to the other. I do think you are giving too much credit to Zach Crawley. Yes,
Yeah,
I think
I
he did.
agree.
I think he performed
I agree
pretty well
entirely.
in the first innings in the second test, and he stuck around. He occupied the crease, and that was all well and good. My argument with him is that, and no one else seems to be pointing this out. I wish someone would. I don't think that he can't play glorious shots. He does play glorious shots, but his consistency in technique of the same shot is not there. So he may play one beautiful cover drive, but the next time he plays it, the bat slips in his hands, or he's not holding it correctly, and he drags it or something, and he comes enough across the line, or the bat comes from the wrong place, so that he gets an edge to a ball that he shouldn't have got an edge to.
Top scorer in this game.
He's top scorer in this game, but I still think, if you look, he was dropped, I believe, early on yesterday, as well as Lees. Is that right? He was dropped at backward point.
Yes,
he
he
edged one between Slip and the wicket-keeper late last night.
He lasered one at mid-wicket.
And he did laser one to mid-wicket, which could have been caught, although, you'd
was
have had to have, I don't know, hands of iron to have held on to that. So I still think that the jury's out, and I'll give him some credit for he's knuckled down and he's tried his best, but I think he really needs to look at the consistency of his technique. We talk. I'll go back to it. We talk about bowlers and repeatable actions. You've got to have repeatable actions in your strokes as a batsman, and those are the ones that are best. You can play the most glorious shot, but if you get out because your technique is a little bit wrong with the next one, or you try to hit it a little bit too hard, maybe you use your bottom hand more than you intended, then you're not going to get very far.
Yeah, it's the start of a long road for him.
Yeah. His next test is going to be Pakistan.
I have an accusation.
An accusation?
Oh, Lord.
You in particular, Tony. I would accuse you of falling victim to white ball fever.
Of all the people to accuse of that, it seems I think I'm unlikely.
You've praised this match for its excitement and its entertainment.
Yes, I did.
And I don't deny that it's been exciting and entertaining, but to me, a lot of that has been in the white ball style of.
But it's a 3-day match where both teams were committed to getting a result.
Well, yes and no. I think England would go into play this way, whatever happened. 5-day, 3-day, it's what they've been doing all summer. And yes, it's okay in terms of the results they've been getting. It's okay in terms of action. But frankly, technique in the batting area has been woeful.
Well,
and,
on both sides.
For both sides, less so for England.
Yeah, absolutely. But the whole thought that having lots of things going on is a substitute for actual really good batting. The paragon of good batting for me is Joe Root. Now, the fact that he couldn't make any runs in the conditions here, any significant runs in the conditions here, helped convince me that these were conditions that weren't really suited to Test cricket.
He gave it away a couple of times.
I think we have got that to a certain extent because a lot of cricket now, which would have been called off for bad light, is played under lights in the Test arena. We don't, so that we do have those periods when the lights take over, but it gets very gloomy, and that seems to have an effect on the conditions. And you just wouldn't have played in those conditions, 10, 15, 20 years ago. So
yes.
That's a forward move in many ways, isn't it? Because we want to see cricket rather than no cricket.
Yeah.
We'd rather see it in July and August than in September, would we not?
Well, I'd rather see it in July and August. Yeah, I'd rather not see it just in June and July. I was accused, I think, by Andy Ward yesterday of being a little bit hypocritical by saying, we didn't want the too much cricket deep into September. And now you're complaining it's going to be over by the end of August, by the end of July. Well, no, I want to go to the end of August and maybe into the first few days of September maximum. I don't want to be playing one-day internationals on the 29th of September in England, that sort of thing. That's ridiculous. But I do think that to have a proper summer, you need to be playing. If you're going to be playing certainly a 5 Test match series, as England will do against Australia next year, then you want to be having some of that in August, really, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
When the pitches ought to be at their best.
I'd also say, splits are that messy. I mean, England may have played like they play, but South Africa played like they play, which is, quite defensive, let's be honest. It's not very attacking, and they still got out as well. So, I mean, there's been some good bowling this summer as well. I mean, bowlers are on top.
Oh, that's certainly true, yeah.
I mean, bowlers are generally on top the world over at the moment. There's quite a few fragile batting lineups, and, everyone has their own theories on that.
But don't you want bowlers to get out good batsmen?
Yeah.
And if bowlers can get wickets too easily, it comes back to that argument about in county cricket playing in April and September and Darren Stevens being able to make it talk. And I'm not knocking Darren Stevens because I think he's a fantastic cricketer. But if you're using that argument, it's a bit like you could go and see an orchestra and they could play very nicely, but it wasn't the best orchestra you could listen to, and it wasn't the best version of that piece of music that you could have heard. I feel that's what it's like with batsmen at the moment, not just England, but batsmen in general.
Yeah, but there've been scores of 300 plus over the summer. It's not been England have got 400 a couple of times. It's not like the bowlers have ruled all summer, but they've been reasonably helpful tracks, and good batsmen have prospered.
Well, I think if you go back to Trent Bridge, where Johnny Bairstow went Burko in the second test against New Zealand, I mean that's where it really all took off, isn't it?
Well, 2 innings of 500 in that game.
There were, exactly. That was the point I was going to make. There were, but then you still got a result, which is absolutely fantastic. I want to see that kind of cricket every Test match, if possible. Teams getting 500, but there still being a chance of a result, and that to me is the apex of Test cricket.
Yeah,
I think you've got to also in this match you've got to say both teams bowled well in the conditions generally. Rabada had some pretty loose spells. Anderson and Broad bowled superbly and made the most of the conditions that were in front of them, I would think. Ollie Robinson, well, he was as good as one of the fastest bowlers to, 50 wickets ever, I think, Ollie Robinson.
Yeah.
It certainly is an upgrade on Potts, isn't he? And Potts didn't start too bad in that first test, but he just sort of subsided after that, didn't really kick on.
Fifth. He's the fifth fastest England bowler to get 50 wickets since the Second World War. Behind Tyson, Truman, Higgs, Botham, and then Ollie Robinson.
Higgs Botham sounds like some sort of
Higgs
equation.
type of a theory. Higgs Botham theory, yes.
No, I'm just a curious thing about selfies. It looked to me as if one bloke in the crowd, as Ollie Pope came out, as the England team came down onto the outfield again, for the presentations, he didn't want a selfie with Ollie Pope. He wanted Ollie Pope to take a picture of him and his dad. That's very strange, isn't it?
Well, you don't go up to the Pope and ask for that sort of thing, do you?
No, it's extraordinary, isn't it? Absolutely. You'd have turned it down, wouldn't you?
Can I suggest we're not going to commentate on the ceremony and we get off and go to the Woodhouse?
Well, you can say that.
Well,
I think
Can I go through a few?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you absolutely
And
should.
maybe we should bring Mpo in for a final word or two
Yes.
as well. So let's have some final tweets and then we'll talk to Mpo and maybe just a little look ahead to the T20 World Cup, maybe. Messi.
Yes. Roger Melly says hello, good evening, and bollocks.
Too late.
Mog says 69. Nice.
No, yes.
Chris Quire says Glamorgan and Sussex both followed the South African example, aiming for quick losses. 4 down already for both of them.
Blimey.
The Paul box says Crawley finishes on 69. Click here. And Warren says, oh, good. Another year of Crawley. Paul box says short test matches reduces copulation. Peter Lloyd, the teams were still in bubbles but were more relaxed than the 2020 containment.
Yeah.
Django says, back in May, the first morning against New Zealand, I asked you guys if I should use white wine or red wine vinegar when pickling my garlic capers. You didn't give me an answer, so I went with white wine. And you know what? I tasted them this weekend and they're shite. Cheers.
I don't think I was on that day. I'd have said red wine if I'd have been involved in that conversation. But there we go.
I don't think, Django, you can abuse us for advice not given.
Exactly.
Yes.
Make your own choice. I have no idea.
Yeah, we're very much
And
of independent mind here.
Mog says, right then, I'm off to avoid housework by researching World Cup squads, ignoring that research and doing a bunch of shite.
Oh, that's the point. We need to think of jingles, don't we?
Well, let's just have a little word from Mpo then on this.
And one other thing is, I've just tweeted onto our timeline a list of the T20 matches that England will be playing against Pakistan and Australia before the World Cup. There's 10 of them.
10 in
and
all,
we start in 8 days' time. So put all of those in your diaries.
Yeah, I'll be putting them up on the website anyway.
Mpo, okay, disappointing in the end. A test summer from South Africa. Your hopes for South Africa in the World T20? Do you think you're going to be competitive?
Championship or bust. It's probably the strongest T20 side we've ever put up. Lots of guys who are on form. Markram, Rousseau. Who else is in there? Reeza's on form. It's just trying to get QDK back up to form. Marco Jansen is a reserve, but we've got Parnell. You've got KG Lungi, Anuf Nokia in Australia. It could be a battle of whoever has the best bowling attacks, and I think our team has that. And then you've also got the power. You all saw Tristan Stubbs. I'm excited for that. Markram, Miller, Stubbs, and possibly Parnell 4 to 7 in that T20 World Cup. If that can fire, we should take the trophy home, regardless of whatever total anybody puts down. So that's the only bright side of this, and we saw that in the summer.
Yep.
How we played. So yeah, look, test is disappointing. We've got 5 more to go. Just win. We've got 2 against West Indies at home. That we should win both. We should at least scrape away with 1 against Australia. And if that's 3-2, we're in that World Test Championship final with Australia at Lord's next year, which I think is going to be an intriguing prospect. We've got a year then to figure out who comes into that middle order and strengthen that up so that we can give everybody else who's non-English or non-South African or Australian a really great game on that day. So for me, yes, we've lost this, but it's back to the drawing board. Our bowlers are incredible, and We need to find a way to keep all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think most teams around the world will be saying that. Our bowlers are incredible. I'm not sure what we can do about our batting. We've missed Johnny Bairstow, of course. Just seeing him up on the screen. Missed him in this final test. Harry Brook made a decent start, although unfortunately he sort of picked out a man on the boundary. Like to have seen a bit more of him, but I'm sure he.
Yeah, he looked nice for those 12
yeah,
runs.
He did indeed, and it'd be nice to look forward to seeing him one in the world T20 and potentially, and also the test matches in Pakistan. But until next Tuesday, when we will be returning at 3:30 BST for the first of the Pakistan v England T20s. It's been a pleasure. It's been wonderful. Don't forget to go to patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket and help us out if you can financially. If you enjoy what we do. And even if you don't enjoy what we do, just give us some money. Why not? But until next Tuesday, very many thanks to Mpo for joining us this morning. He was on a hiding to nothing, wasn't he? Thanks, Mpo, for being with us.
That's okay. Thanks, guys.
Thanks also to Messi Jez, who's been an absolute trooper this summer. Thanks again to the Bear. Thanks again to the Bishop. And thanks mostly to me. I don't know why. Until next Tuesday, it's goodbye from all of us at Gorilla Cricket. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guerrilla cricket. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the covered boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary.